Salam sejahtera saya Ahmad ini pada
Hello there, you're now with me, Razi Ahmad, for TVS English News at 5, and let's start with the top story. Now, the head of state, Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud, and his wife, Tuan Puan Dato Patinggi Ragat Kudi Taib, will hold their Hari Raya Aidilfitri open house on the first and second day of Hari Raya Aidilfitri at the Astana in Petrajaya. According to a press statement, Taib and Ragat will receive state and federal cabinet ministers, deputy ministers, and other local dignitaries from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and from 2:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. on the first day of Hari Raya Aidilfitri. On the second day, they will receive members of the public and other well-wishers from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Meanwhile, the Premier Sarawak, Dato Patinggi dan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg and his wife, Puan Sri Dato Amar Jumaani Tun Tuan Kuching, will be holding their Aidilfitri open house at the Borneo KUCHING Convention Centre, BCCK. According to a statement issued by the Sarawak Premier's office on Wednesday, should the first day of Hari Raya Aidilfitri fall on Friday, April 21st, the open house will be held from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. The open house on the second day of Hari Raya Aidilfitri would then be held from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. However, should the first day of Hari Raya Aidilfitri be on Saturday, the Premier's open house will be held from 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., while the open house on the second day will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
In other news, Kuching would have a visibility of 30% of the partial solar eclipse on Thursday, April 20th, in conjunction with the hybrid solar eclipse phenomenon that occurs north of the Australian continent. Kota Kinabalu, Sabah will be 34%, and the highest coverage will be in Tawau at 43%. The rare phenomenon could be witnessed around 1:30 p.m. in Sarawak, while viewers in Sabah can catch the phenomenon at 2 p.m. The Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, MOSTI, stated that those in Peninsular Malaysia can watch the rare spectacle from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The eclipse will reach maximum coverage of 1% to 15% in Peninsular Malaysia. In a Twitter post, MOSTI also reminded the public not to look at the sun directly without the use of special filters, as it could damage the retina of the eye, which could result in permanent blindness. In addition, live streaming on the National Planetarium's Facebook and YouTube channels is also provided. MOSTI also said that the visibility of the partial solar eclipse also depends on the weather conditions in certain locations. The last solar eclipse occurred on June 21, 2020, and it will only happen again on August 2, 2027. Meanwhile, the Sarawak government has agreed to set the date for the additional holiday for Sarawak in conjunction with the Hari Raya Aidilfitri 2023 celebration in accordance with Section 5 of the Public Holiday Ordinance. Now, Dato' Amar Haji Muhammad Abu Bakar Marzuki said in a statement, should the first day of Hari Raya Aidilfitri fall on Friday, April 21st, the additional holiday would take effect on Monday, April 24th. However, should the first day of Hari Raya Aidilfitri fall on Saturday, April 22nd, Friday would be the additional holiday and Monday would be its replacement holiday. Abu Bakar pointed out that the decision was made after a discussion with the Premier of Sarawak, Dato Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg. Now, previously, Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim announced additional public holidays to give people more time to prepare for the Aidilfitri holiday. Now, Deputy Prime Minister Dato Sri Fadillah Yusof maintains for Sarawak and Sabah to have 35% of the 222 seats in the Dewan Rakyat. In an interview with Malaysia Kini, he said it was necessary to uphold the spirit of the Federal Constitution, adding that under Malaysia Agreement 1963, MA63, the regions of Sarawak, Sabah and Singapore were allotted 35% of seats. to ensure that any amendments to the federal constitution would require the approval of the 3 states. But even after Singapore left in 1965, Sabah and Sarawak were left with only 25 seats percentage.
Fadila, who is also Malaysia's Agreement 1963 Implementation Action Council Chairman, pointed out that the push for the 35% goal was one of the key conclusions of the Special Council on the Malaysia Agreement in September last year. In his reply to the argument that Sabah and Sarawak only constitute 1/6 of the Malaysia's population and should not control 1/3 of parliament, he said all the rights accorded to Sabah and Sarawak could be voted and stripped if Peninsular Malaysia holds more than 2/3 of the parliamentary seats. The Putrajaya MP also said despite the immense contribution of the 2 Bornean states to Malaysia, Sabah and Sarawak still lags behind in terms of development compared to their peninsular counterpart. He noted that decades of centralized planning in Putrajaya have resulted in the 2 East Malaysian regions behind in terms of resources.
With the AIDILFITRI celebration just days away, the Muslim community is busy making their final preparations. According to a survey by TVS KUCHING, this year's reception has been very positive, giving a boost to merchants' sales.
So far, Alhamdulillah lah, daripada first Ramadan till nak raya, memang pun sale naik mendadak. Like seorang yang beli sampai secara borong like beratus-ratus.
Okey, sambutan pada tahun tu sangat menggalakkan. Kita orang pun macam terkejut juga lah, sedangkan persaingan memang banyak nak, tapi memang menggalakkan. Okey, happy lah.
Okey, tahun tu bagi kami so kedai kami rasa bagi kami non-stop lah, non-stop. So kami ada assistant, so bila kami seorang-seorang kami rasa si menang tangan. Tapi bagi kami ambil harap gila tahun tu raya meriahlah daripada sebelum tu.
The survey also found customers are coming in droves, mostly after breaking fast. Goodies on sale at the AIDILFITRI bazaars include baju kurung, baju Melayu, accessories, raya cookies and biscuits, and many more.
Welcome back. The public are advised to take the necessary precautions by donning face masks and using umbrellas and hats to avoid direct exposure to the hot weather and haze currently affecting the country. Nahab Minister Dr. Zaliha Mustafa said people should also avoid strenuous activities to prevent illness during the current weather conditions.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change, Nik Ahmad, was reported to have said that the haze is expected to be worse this year compared to the last 3 years as plantation and industrial activities have returned to normal operation. Based on monitoring of the hot weather status by the Malaysian Meteorological Department yesterday, several areas were reported to be in warning level 1, which is caution category, and no areas were reported to be in warning level 2, heat wave.
Now, over in the ongoing conflict in Sudan, Malaysians who were in the Petronas complex in Khartoum have been successfully evacuated to safety. Now, this comes after reports of forced occupation of the complex, which also houses the Malaysian embassy.
Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zamri Abdul Qadir has taken action by ordering the Deputy Secretary General Bilateral Relations to summon the Sudanese ambassador to Malaysia and protest against the action of certain parties who invaded the complex. In a statement, Zamri said the Deputy Secretary General Bilateral Relations emphasized to Ambassador Hamza Omer Hassan Ahmed the importance of ensuring the safety of Malaysians in the country amidst the internal conflict. Zamri stressed that the safety of all Malaysians in Sudan is the government's priority, and Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has decided that all of them will be taken out of Sudan if their safety are threatened. Zamri added Malaysia is taking steps to bring all citizens home as soon as possible. A special team led by Wisma Putra draw up an evacuation plan to bring home 32 Malaysians. However, the current situation in Sudan has not yet allowed for the evacuation process to be carried out due to the escalating conflicts. The crisis in Sudan has affected all foreign embassies, with reports of attacks on the European Union ambassador, Japanese citizens being abused, the United States diplomatic vehicle being shot, and the official residence of the Kuwaiti ambassador to Sudan being invaded.
An eyewitness photographed on Tuesday the aftermath of a parking structure collapse that left at least 1 dead and 5 injured in Lower Manhattan, New York.
Andrew Shulman, who was at a meeting in the residential building next door, said he heard commotion and sirens before finding out about the incident through social media. He went up the roof to see the wreckage. According to Shulman, people that were at his meeting had cars parked inside the garage. Robotic devices were deployed after firefighters were pulled back from the fallen structures due to the unstable conditions and checked the site for any further casualties. Officials said they believe all victims have been accounted for and no foul play was suspected. City Police Commissioner Kashant Sawald told reporters they had no reason to believe it was anything other than a structural collapse. The New York City Department of Buildings online records showed that the structure at the site of the collapse have been cited for 45 violations, including 25 since 2003, and many related to its elevators.
Now see the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. For more headlines anytime, anywhere, just head on to our official website at tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. And those were the updates on TVS News at 5. I'm Razi Ahmad. Thank you for watching.